for my sermon this morning, I want to go to Acts chapter 10, verse 9. About noon the following day, as they were on their journey and approaching the city, Peter went up on the roof to pray. He became hungry and wanted something to eat. And while the meal was being prepared, he fell into a trance. He saw heaven open and something like a large sheet being let down to earth by its four corners. It contained all kinds of four-footed animals as well as reptiles and birds. Then a voice told him, "Rise, kill, and eat." "Surely not, Lord," Peter replied. "I have never eaten anything impure or unclean." The voice said to a second time, "Do not call anything unclean that God has made clean." This happened 3 times. Saw the sheet come down 3 times. And then was taken back to heaven. While Peter was wondering about the meaning of the vision, the men sent by Cornelius found out where Simon's house was and stopped at the gate, and they called out, asking if Simon, who is known as Peter, was staying there. And while Peter was still thinking about the vision, the Spirit said, "Simon, 3 men are looking for you. So get up, go downstairs. Do not hesitate to go with them, for I have sent them." So what I want to preach, the title of the sermon, kind of weird, isn't it? Rise, kill, and eat. Rise, kill, and eat. And it's scriptural. I didn't just make this up, okay? You know I like to hunt. I like to fish. I did not make this up. Rise, kill, and eat. This is directly from the scripture. And it's a story from the book of Acts. And it is basically after Jesus has ascended into heaven. And now he has put his disciples to work. Jesus is gone, and now he's put his disciples to work. It's almost kind of like, I know we just had a lot of announcements for it that was really cool. All the graduations. And it's like the disciples have graduated, okay? It's like they've graduated, they've been trained, now they got to go out and do the work. We've all been there, right? Or if you're older, you've been there. You go to school, you do the training, you practice, and then all of a sudden you got to go to work. You got to do what you've been taught to do. Years ago, I guess it was 1990, I graduated from college in 1990. I was so excited to get out and preach, and I was really excited to get out and make a living at preaching. I was working on a little farm making $4 an hour. And I thought, I cannot wait to get out and preach because I heard this rumor that preachers make a lot of money. And I couldn't wait to get out and start preaching. So I did. I graduated, had my diploma. The Assemblies of God licensed me as an official minister in the Assemblies of God. And I couldn't wait. So my first gig, I go down to New Athens, First Assembly of God in New Athens. And they took an offering for me. And they wrote me a check for $26. Then I went, a couple weeks later, went to Troy Assembly of God, and I preached there, and they didn't take an offering for me. They just cut me a check for $100. Oh, yeah, I thought I was rich. So then, a few weeks later, I go to Assembly of God in Vandalia and preach, and they wrote me a check. They took an offering, and it came to $62. So what I'm thinking is, all of a sudden it hit me, this $4 an hour at the farm gig is paying more than the preaching gig. Something's gonna have to change here, or something's gonna have to work, but it was fun when you get out and finally get to do what you've been trained to do. So let's look at this. Let's look at this vision. Peter has this vision, okay? About noon, he goes out to the roof to pray. And I want to really drive that home today, how important it is, how big time important it is on so many levels for us to pray. And the one area I want to go to this morning about the importance of prayer, I taught this at Bible study the other night, I want to just give you a little deal of it, is the importance of prayer, how it affects your mind. Right here. Your mind. This, do you agree with me on this? This is a battlefield going on up here. Anybody agree with me on that? There's a battlefield going on up here in the mind. Okay, the mind is a battlefield. And I challenged the Bible study group. Mary Holt, I know she gets an A. She already did this. I challenged the Bible study group. I'm going to challenge you all today. You ready? I want you to try, just pick a day, and I want you to try to just keep good thoughts in your mind all day. Can you do it? I might have a prize for you if you do this. Don't expect much. Can you go an entire day keeping negative thoughts out of your head? Just keeping good thoughts coming in. Because here's the question about your mind is, what are you feeding it? What are you feeding your mind? The problem with us is we're feeding it constantly bad things, aren't we? You know what the worst one is for me? Number one, by far, the news. Oh, and I'm not saying you can't watch the news. We got to keep updated on what's going on in the world. But oh my goodness, the news, that is the number one thing that just boggles my mind. It just drags me down. I mean, and I can watch the news on TV, or I can watch the news on my phone. And like the other day, I was in such a good mood. Then all of a sudden, I was watching the news, and they're talking about a 25-cent gas tax for the great state of Illinois. I guess we're going to waste money somewhere else now. And then I heard they're going to raise stickers to like $150. And then Jim Pulse texted me and said, Grumpy Cat died. And I really didn't know who Grumpy Cat was, and I had to figure out who it was. And I'm thinking to myself, all this stuff that is going through my mind, and what am I feeding my mind? Can I go a day? Can I go one day where I just put good things into my... I'm going to try it. One day where I just put good things into my mind. So here's what happens. Peter's praying, and he sees a vision, and heaven opens up, and this sheet comes down, and it's got all kinds of animals in it. All kinds of animals and reptiles and birds and fish in it, and all that. And the voice says, rise, kill, and eat. Okay? Now, I want to give you a little background to this so you get this a little better. If you're a Jewish person, and even today, if you're a Jewish person, you are really not supposed to... The Jews divide animals into two groups. Clean and unclean. You can eat the clean, you cannot eat the unclean. Even to this day, Jews are not supposed to eat unclean. Heard the term kosher? You've all heard that word? That's clean. There's some clean animals. So I got you a list here because I know you'd want it. Here are animals that you can eat that are clean if you're Jewish or you want to be Jewish, okay? Chickens, duck, geese, turkey, cows. How about this? You can eat grasshoppers. And crickets. You can eat crickets. You can eat bluegill, crappie, and bass. Okay? There's more, but now here's unclean animals. These are animals, if you're Jewish, you are not supposed to eat these animals. Armadillos. Camels. How about this one? Cats. Cats are not clean animals. You can't eat your dog. You're not supposed to eat your horse. You can't eat pigs. No bacon, no pork steaks, no chitlins, no ribs, no snoots, no jowls, no skunks. You can't eat worms. You can't eat bats or buzzards or owls or woodpeckers. You can't eat alligator. You can't eat frogs. You can't eat, Norman, shrimp. Shrimp or lobster or oysters or crawfish or whales. I know you've all been wanting to eat whales. You can't. Can't eat a whale. Okay? And if you're a fisherman like Duck, if you ever want to know which fish you can and cannot eat if you're Jewish, whatever fish has a scale on it is okay. Whatever fish doesn't have a scale on it is unclean. Okay? Bottom feeder, top feeder. God's basically telling the Jews, I don't want you eating bottom feeders. You eat the good stuff at the top. Okay? Look how much smarter you are now. Nathan, I know you just graduated, but look how much smarter you are now that you came to church. Now, why this vision and why this animals? Here's what I'm thinking. God's trying to teach Peter something a lot deeper than just about animals. He's trying to teach him a deeper lesson. God is teaching Peter that what he said is, everything that I have made is now clean. Everything I have created is now clean. And God said, don't call something unclean that I have now made pure. And what God's really talking about is he's talking about people. Okay? Because in the old days, Jews, this is how strict they were. Jews were not only were they not allowed to eat unclean food, they were not allowed to eat with unclean people. And you Gentiles are all unclean people. Jews were not allowed to eat with you. They were not allowed to come into your house to even sit and watch TV with you. Couldn't do any of that. And now God is saying, I have made the Gentiles pure as well. Don't call the Gentiles impure anymore. I've made them pure. I've made them clean. Now here's what I think God is also saying. This is a big one for me, is, in other words, I am not showing favoritism. You're all equal. I am not showing favoritism anymore. That deal with favoritism, okay? Anyone ever been here a victim of favoritism? Who's ever lost a job promotion because the boss's brother-in-law got it? Favoritism. Anybody here ever decorate their house for a Christmas contest in town and they didn't even come by the trailer park to look at it? That's favoritism. We experience it all the time. It's not fun when you're not favored, is it? It's fun when you're favored, Mark, but it's not fun when you're not the favored one. Last Sunday, for Mother's Day, I went all out. I took Mom down to Paderborn. We got her a chicken dinner, got her a cold stag. Joel's still the favorite. I tried. I threw it all out there. That beer cost me $2.50. I threw it all out there. Here's the thing about favoritism, though. I see it with being a minister. I see it with other pastors. Whenever I see pastors, and it's a lot of them, they're smarter than I am. They're better than I am. Better looking than I am. They're more talented than I am. And I'm saying this to myself, are you sure God doesn't show favoritism? Are you absolutely sure? The one preacher, I kind of like him. He got a little flack because he bought his wife a Lamborghini. Yeah. Laura's is on the way. I just ordered it. Would you judge me if I bought her a Lamborghini? Yes. Somebody's got to tell me what it actually is first, but would that be wrong? Pastors' wives shouldn't drive Lamborghinis? Okay. Well, she's not, don't worry, but anyway. Or what about just people who seem smarter than you or more successful than you, or they have more than you, and then we kind of say to ourselves, are you sure God doesn't show favor? Are you sure God doesn't favor them more than me? And here's one the way I look at it too, is what the Bible says is God doesn't judge us on the outside. God judges what's in the heart. It's what's on the inside that it's what counts. That's what's on the inside. People can be more successful than you and better than you, but if their heart's not in the right place, God doesn't care what's on the outside. God cares what's on the inside. And here's what also I learned. It's not so much favoritism. It's just that God uses people in different ways, and God just uses people differently. And this is why I brought this up. When we were in Florida for a few days, we went to this church. It was called Church by the Sea. It was really cool. But we went in there, It's like 500 yards from the beach. And you go in there, and he's got the big screens, those big screens that have all the things on them. And the pastor comes out, and it's this handsome guy. He's got this full head of silver hair, and he's got a tie on. He's got a little, what do they call those? The gambler used to wear them. Maverick used to wear one. A vest. He had a vest on. He had a tie on. His beautiful silver hair. And he's up there preaching, and he's got a slideshow going, And I thought, I'm sitting there thinking, wow, I'm from the Midwest. It's cold back home. I look like a troll. I thought, huh? Troll? Oh, that's right. I'm not even a troll. Trolls have hair, that's right. I don't know what I am. But I'm sitting there thinking, are you sure God doesn't show favoritism? Are you sure God doesn't favor some over the others? But then we left, and you know what? I'm going to tell you something. That was the most unfriendly church I'd ever been in. Laura and I sat there. No one ever said hello to us. No one even welcomed us. No one even said, glad you're here. And the deacons even walked by, didn't even look at us. And then when we left, I'm standing outside. I wanted to talk to, introduce myself to the pastor, and he's talking, the handsome guy. And I just wanted to shake his hand and tell him how good looking he was. And all of a sudden, I'm waiting to talk to him. And as soon